Wesley comes in, sits at the head of the table, and starts reading Nino Brown. And me and Ice-T looked at each other, and me and Al, we're like, oh, shit. We're about to be in a motherfucking classic.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this guy is amazing.
It's the C-A-T-C-H, we catching up. 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 We catching up with Mark.
Oh, yeah. Live, and there he is. See that? At our age, we figured it out.
Took me a minute. I've only done one. Have I done one of these? Yeah, I did one of these.
Well, on your second try, considering it's only 11:03, you did pretty good. There are others that took them at least to 11:04. So, you're killing it. How are you, my friend? Nice to see you here in the quarantine days of semi-quarantine.
I'm okay. I'm okay. I mean, can't. We all have, we all share one problem. It's like Corona's like this house guest that won't leave.
Yeah.
Like, when are you leaving?
We've always had problems where there's an end in sight, in theory, right? Like even a great fire in California where it's like eventually it's going to go out.
Eventually. Yes.
It's just a question of when at this point. And I was talking to some people earlier, and it was like, that one thing that humans really hate the most is uncertainty. And I think that our entire society right now, globally, is really just so uncertain that that's really what's giving a lot of anxiety. Not just the death part, but just we don't know what tomorrow is going to be.
I mean, it's like any bad situation. It's like you have to accept it. And once you accept it, it's like guys going to jail. It's like once you accept your bid, then your bid will go by faster.
Right.
But if you're fighting it, like I shouldn't be here. Well, yeah, you're gonna be there for life.
Right. Sometimes when it's a life sentence, I wonder if it's easier than like that 3-year sentence, kind of like the 3-hour plane ride versus the 10-hour plane ride. Like on the 2nd hour, you're going nuts, but on a 10-hour, you could just kind of chill till the 8th hour, 9th hour.
Yeah, but you got to accept it. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
If we accept that this is how it's going to be till at least Valentine's Day.
Right.
Like, really, like, it's not at least Valentine's Day.
It's crazy how human beings think that a virus is on their time. Right?
Yeah, it's not on your time.
Are we that ignorant?
It's gonna get worse. You can't be too careful. Yeah, it's.
What if you're in New York, right?
I'm in New York, yeah.
Or New York, New Jersey.
Yeah.
So I'm in California, but I'm a New Yorker, but I moved out here and I was like kissing the ground over the last 6 months, which I never really thought I would be so happy to be out of New York City as I am in the last, few months, because we have space here and there's outdoors and there's warm weather. How's it been in New York for you?
I mean, I'm in Jersey. I'm like right outside the city.
So you're in the burbs. So you got some space.
I got room, and I don't want to get ostentatious in a time where people are suffering, but I got plenty room.
Yeah.
And I was in LA a couple of weeks ago, so
you're traveling a bit.
I mean, a little bit. But I've accepted that this thing is going to be here till at least,
Yeah. Well, that's the point. At least who knows? And if you, by the way, I would take Valentine's Day today as a deal.
Yeah, literally. I was looking at houses in LA, just like, okay, maybe I'm going to spend the winter.
Yeah.
Like, because Corona in the winter, quarantine in the winter is like a whole nother thing.
It is.
So.
Yeah, and we caught it, towards the end of March. It was still freezing in New York. And I was just like, man, thank God I got out here.
Yeah.
Because it was just, it was hard enough here with 2 kids and, just being outside. And yes, we have some space, but like imagining doing that indoors, whether you're just indoors in New Jersey or indoors in an apartment in New York, is hell on earth. But not to be too morbid about it, because, we're all living the same reality, which is just the unknown, and it is what it is.
Yeah. But, and people are, people losing jobs, people's lives are in pause, people are, people are making real decisions, man. People are deciding between medicine and food right now.
Yeah,
you
it's
know?
horrible.
And for whatever reason, our government, like France, they just basically said no rent, no mortgage, everybody. They just like forgave everything, like for the
I don't
whole
know.
time. But
I don't know what the solution is because it's so vast and it's so big and everything affects something else. You know, you can look down to like the lowest on the totem pole to the highest on the totem pole. We are all connected no matter how you look at it. I was talking to someone in
yeah,
real estate yesterday and he's like, "Yeah, I get it. People are out of work, customers aren't coming to your business, you're closed down, and then therefore you don't want to pay our rent, but if you don't pay our rent, we can't pay our banks, and then the banks can't pay the dividends on people who invested, and
yeah.
then those things are in pension plans all over the world." And it's like, where do you start forgiving? You just pause for a few months. Wouldn't that be nice? But I don't know. You know, I don't know if on a country of our size
France
you could do it.
stopped everything. France forgave the landlords, which meant the landlords could forgive the tenants, which like
Forgave the banks and
yeah,
armor
like
and so forth.
for the left. I mean, so it has been done. We just
But
America.
is food free there?
No, but
Right?
food is
Like,
kind of free when you don't have to pay rent.
yeah, yeah.
You know,
Use the
when you
savings
don't
where
have
you
to
can.
when you don't have to pay a mortgage. Yes, yes, food is a lot easier to obtain.
I'm
When
curious
you
to see what happens when the unemployment runs out, if it does, in the end of July here, because I think we're really living off of a boosted economy from awarded
yeah.
benefits, obviously, and it's a little scary to see what's going to happen.
Well, I mean, I don't want to get on a Trump rant,
Yeah, I
but
try not to, but
I'm not. I'm not. I'm not. I'm
yeah,
not. I'm not. But and he's got a lot of faults. But the dumbest thing America did was we made a landlord the president.
yeah. That's one of
Landlords
our
don't
dumbest things.
like a
We got a
landlord
laundry
don't
list.
give a
I got a
fuck.
list of stupidity here from
Yeah, a
America. It's like,
landlord
wow.
wants his money. When a woman and her two children go, "Hey, we can't pay the rent," the landlord goes, "Hey, let me get some boxes." Like
Right.
that's what a
You're out
nice
tomorrow.
landlord does.
Right.
So we got a landlord running the country. So yeah,
A
landlords
landlord
want
slash
their
reality
money.
president, reality
Yeah,
star. So, you know, he
landlords want
likes
their money. So
fame.
hey, this is where we're at.
It's
Uh,
frustrating, but
I'm good. My family's good. Uh, it's like things I'm ashamed of. I used to complain all the time about having to take care of my family, like being that guy.
yeah,
And now in this time, I'm like, I literally get on my knees every day and thank God I can take care of my family.
yeah.
Like
The most
cousins and
basic thing that you can do.
you know what I mean? Like, I got a lot of, I can like take care of my family. I can help out my friends. I can, like my bubble. I can like
Yeah,
basically help everybody ride this out. And
yeah.
I used to really complain about it. It was like, oh, everybody comes to me. Now I'm like, you know what? God did this to you for a reason.
Yeah.
And,
God gave you the gift that now you can really give back and take
yeah,
care of people.
yeah.
It's the
So,
most basic necessities at this point. We're like, I used to think about all the things in the beginning, like, oh, we can't travel, we can't do this, we can't do that. And meanwhile, I'm like, thank God we have a home. Thank God we're
yeah,
able to
man.
eat. Thank God we're healthy.
I got a
And then
home
everything
and
else seems to be a lot more simple.
I got room and, this brother's whatever, man. We got it easy, man, but it's a lot of people got it really hard right now and really have some big decisions to make in the
Yeah.
next few months.
And the only way really to overcome it is as a society. You know, it's not one thing the government can only do. It's not one thing that you yourself you can't save the world personally. But I think as an entire society, we really need to look at how
Yeah, it's
we're gonna have
like
to come together and be
that's the
helpful.
saddest thing about this whole the whole pandemic. It's like it didn't. I mean, right now, LA's on fire, Arizona's on fire, Florida, Texas, and it didn't have to get this bad. But I thought we lived in one country, but evidently we live in 50 different countries.
Yeah.
And if the powers that be decided to act as one, we could have been out of this thing by now. We could have
Yeah.
literally been living kind of normal lives. But we're a team. And yes, if you would have instituted laws or, rules for the whole country at the same time, yes, it would have affected some states unfairly.
Yeah.
But that's what happens in a team.
Yeah.
Sometimes Michael Jordan gets more shots.
Yeah.
Than John
Some are on the
Paxson.
bench until they're needed.
Yeah. And Horace Grant has to set picks. Like sometimes things have to be uneven.
Yeah.
For the team to win.
It's a very good analogy.
America was, for whatever reason, Trump did not view it as a team. People gonna die.
Yeah.
Lots
and you
of
look at like Texas and Florida,
die.
yeah, we're not affected.
Not even die, man. Just like I got relatives I talk to, that are just that the coronavirus is just terrorizing them.
Yeah.
Because they're like in a building and then somebody on the floor over them died and somebody under them died and they hear ambulances and sirens going by. Like people are like really being like traumatized by this. But yeah, man.
No,
it's sad. It's really sad.
It's unfortunate that it's taking hindsight to maybe get this out of, now Florida, now Texas, now the states, like, even Arizona, who was like nothing. The arrogance of human beings, and I agree with the lack of leadership as being as one. The team is the perfect example. It's like, okay, so you couldn't just sit on the bench. You had to like, get yourself in there.
Somebody's got to sacrifice shots. Somebody
and now
has
we lose.
To not like we just that's how teams win. And the
but
goal
you know what?
is
The
to
team
win.
wins with a good coach. And people always talk about the big star of the team. No, it's really coming down to leadership.
It's management and
bad management here.
It's horrible mess. So we got we got 50 countries, not 50 states, 50 countries.
Do you think, because now when you look at that map and it's completely red with rising cases and all that stuff, that do you think now we have a way out as a result of just we had to go all the way to the bottom of hell essentially to come back out?
I mean, it's still you still have to play as a team. It's still there's never a way out until everybody sits down and gets on the same page.
Yeah.
You can lose 100%. Forever. The whole analogy, like in sports, it can't get any worse. It can always get worse.
Yeah. I hope it doesn't, but I know it can.
I hope it doesn't.
I agree. It can always get worse. That's the sick part.
Always, it can always get worse. Let's hope it doesn't. Let's hope it doesn't. Let's be positive.
I hope so. All right, thinking positive. I want to switch gears for a second because
let's switch gears.
Not only
it's been very therapeutic. I just came from my shrink.
Oh no.
I'm very shrinked up.
You could lay back on the couch if you want. Just make you feel like you're having.
As a matter of fact, I did 2 shrinks and then you. So
are you doing the video conference?
Yeah. I did a shrink in a group and now you. So
all right. So let me take it back to childhood, Chris. Let me take it back to childhood. Yes, I'm not even kidding, actually. I really
you have to. It's all about childhood. Your whole life is about childhood.
It is. And the experience you've had as a young child, different from other people, how it affected you, where it influenced you, and all that stuff. I've always been curious, and the reason I like doing this is because I'm an admirer from afar. Of course, I'm fortunate that I've gotten to meet you in person many times, and even sit and have dinner with you on a few occasions.
Hey, you have one of the nicest restaurants in New York and LA, but New York, that outside that patio, I've celebrated some momentous occasions there.
Having your crab, I know you love the crab.
Having my soft shell crab.
Soft shell's back in season, coming up.
Soft shell's crab. I have my. I was getting ready to say something. I was getting ready to sound like a rich guy. My housekeeper just made me some soft.
It's all right. You know what? To be a rich guy and being taking care of people is not a bad thing. It's just like, it's what you do with it. And I think you've been amazing. But what got you to be a rich guy? And rich doesn't necessarily mean money. I'm not talking money.
I always say rich is not about money. Rich is about options.
Rich is about options. But when I look
at
you,
you have options in life. If you can only do one thing, that's very, it doesn't feel free.
Yeah.
So rich is about options.
Well, you've created your options. nothing was handed to you. Nothing was said, oh, you're just blessed and here you go, enjoy stardom and being
Well,
the best
I've
everything you
had
got.
help. I'm not going to sit here and like nobody helped me and
So who helped you? I
did
know
all
Eddie
me.
Murphy
Oh,
discovered you,
yeah,
right?
I mean the
But
Eddie
where
Murphys
was
of the
your help?
world, the Lauren Michaels of the world. But then then it's like this guy named, there's like the unsung heroes. A guy named Nelson George,
The writer.
kind of like taught me how to write
Hmm.
and exposed me to like good films and stuff. Like a friend of mine, Lewis Hamilton, like exposed me to like like quirky, weird, exposed me to Kubrick.
Hmm.
And when I was like a kid in Bed-Stuy, I'm watching Doctor Strangelove
Hmm.
and weird Woody Allen movies and stuff. So there's like, yeah, there's the obvious people, and then there's the other. There was a waitress that used to work at the comic strip named Francesca that just told me how arrogant I was one night. It
Hmm.
was like, and like I try not to be arrogant. I try like to
Yeah.
work on this ego thing. There's lots of people, lots and lots and lots and lots. It's got Andre Harrell, who just
Rest
passed.
in peace. Yep.
Keenan Waynes was like a great mentor guy. Always, give you 5 minutes and answer your questions.
Yeah.
Damon Wayans,
Hmm.
by the way, taught me literally everything I know about being a stand-up. Lots of people.
You talk about arrogance, and I found that arrogance, which I also have been accused of being throughout my career in life, which I've tried to overcome. But there's something about arrogance that gets you on that stage in the beginning. There's something about
There's a
arrogance that
little
gets you out
arrogance,
there.
but it's like a dance you got to walk, man. Because if you're too arrogant, if you're too bitter, if you're too caught up in yourself, people don't want to help you.
Yeah.
People don't want to reach out to you. People don't want you around.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? People don't want you around for experiments.
Yeah.
Like you got to like really, there's a few assholes in show business, but not the really successful people, not as many as you would think.
It's
They're
funny, like Chevy
really,
Chase has always been referred to as the biggest
yes,
asshole in
there's,
show
there's,
business, but
but
he's an exception. He's so great.
yeah, but this like most like really successful people that I've met are, first of all, they know
Humble.
exactly who they are.
Hmm.
They're very, just genuine and, giving. And
So
you got to give to get.
I
You,
agree,
you
and it's
get
great
what you give.
advice for everybody who like starts out, and younger the people are generally, and the more talented they are, the more arrogant seems to come with it because they think the best at something. Meanwhile, they're still only 16, 17, 18 years old. They don't know shit yet. And
Yeah.
and
I
at
mean,
what age though in your life
there's a lot of
did you
talent
feel
out there.
like
Yeah.
did you know you were talented though at a young age in a way that others people weren't in the world of either
Yeah.
comedy or
That's
storytelling
beautiful.
or writing?
1 second. My daughter's calling
No
me.
worries, that's
Yes?
how it is.
Okay. I love you too. Okay. It's my 18-year-old daughter who's gone to
Going to
college
college.
going to college in Paris in September. So I'm gonna only
Wow.
have one kid living there.
Is it the American University of Paris or
Yes,
what? Where is it?
American University of Paris. So
Okay, nice.
I'm gonna be down to one kid.
How
Yes.
old's your younger?
16. So
16. All right, so you
I
got a
got
couple
about a
more years.
year and a half, and then I can pretty much live
Start over.
anywhere I want to live, go anywhere I want to go. Yeah. Anyway,
Are you,
what
are
were
you,
we talking
yeah.
about
Well, we
for
were
my
talking
angel?
about when did you know that you had something unique or just a love or passion for something?
I mean, I
Like
knew I wanted to be a comedian when I was like 7, 8 years old. It
because
just interests me. I just like, back then, there was a lot of variety shows on television, and you'd see like a singer, and you'd see dancers and jugglers and comedians, and just comedians to me were just more interesting than, Flip Wilson was more interesting to me than Gladys Knight. Like I could see
Mhm.
people sing in church, but this comedy thing's like, wow, how do you even do that? And it just brought me so much joy. So
I agree. I was obsessed with comedy growing up my whole life, and which is why I'm such a big fan of yours, and I can go all the way back to the
yeah, it's
beginning.
like, it's like
But
verbal magic. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
To make people laugh. Like, you can watch it and you can study it and you're still like, how do you do that? How the fuck? You know, I was in
What I
Malibu.
felt that what you've done so well in such a like an incredible way is that, you know, you've taken comedy, which obviously most comics or a lot of comics do have a really creative way of turning a mirror on ourselves and pointing out the obvious things that we do on a daily basis that we don't necessarily articulate in a comedic way. But you've done it in such like a laser sharp way, whether it's the problems of the times or politics, and you've always sort of gravitated towards the hardships and the bad things of our society, which are really relevant today, obviously, but have been relevant forever to you. When did you become so like focused on that genre, or do you think it just kind of morphed with age, or was it from your childhood and
I
growing up,
mean,
or what?
it's weird when you're a comedian or you're a writer or what, you know, anybody that puts pen to paper, it's like your first job is not even being funny. Your first job is to just notice everything.
Mm-hmm.
So your mind is almost like a surveillance camera. It's like, even though you're not zeroing in on anything, you pick up everything. You know what I mean? Like, everything ends up in your head. And yeah, I just realized, like, I was good with patterns. I was good with seeing, like, ooh, this person did this and this person did this 3 weeks ago. And then 5 people, before I know it, I realized 5 people had said something or acted a certain way. I was like, oh, I can make a joke about that.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like finding like the patterns in human behavior.
Yeah.
And if you
But
can
that's
do
an art
that.
form, and to do that to make it where it's actually funny to other people, not just to you, is a
Yeah,
talent. I mean, in
once you
its of
realize
itself.
what you're talking about is universal,
Hmm.
you're like, okay, it'll probably work. It'll
Yeah,
probably get a laugh, you know?
I love when you talk about liars. You're a liar. You're a
Liars.
liar. You're a liar. You're not. You're not real. That's not your
Uh,
hair. That's not your fingernail. It's my favorite.
oh, that one. I don't even know
There's
if you.
so many favorites of mine of yours, like you know, but the the comedic the comedian of itself forever has been politically incorrect, and that's where you can get away with it because it's in the kind of wrapping of comedy. Today, however, it seems like that is an even bigger challenge than ever before. What you can and can't say now, even in comedy, does that make
Man,
your life more difficult, or does it inspire you to push the envelope more?
you know, a lot of good art's made during censorship. You know what I mean? It's like, I don't know. Has it affect Dave? Not really. You know, it's, I don't know. I don't think about the censorship that much. I mean, yeah,
I
people
mean, you
get,
hosted the Oscars, like big things like that, like, you know, to be able to do that or not be able to do that now because of things of the past coming back and haunting. It's kind of a scary time for comedy, I felt like. It was like disappointing to me to see all those kind of reactions to comedy specifically.
I mean, if it's funny, it's undeniable. It cuts through all of that stuff.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't really worry about the censorship. I mean, did I just go habada habada? I wish. It's weird because a lot of the censorship is coming from people that don't respect comedy to begin with. Because if you really respected comedy, you would realize the audience is always right. And I've never seen a comedian continue to do a joke that doesn't get a laugh.
Sure.
Like you don't have to tweet me. You don't have to DM me to tell me something's not funny. I'm listening.
Yeah, I just
And
felt
when
like
the
the
audience
dangers of
doesn't
today is that
laugh,
you're,
I don't
yeah,
ever
you
want to
know.
do it again.
But nowadays with social media and the way things go like wildfire, you work on one joke in one place. It could be in like to 10 people and it can go worldwide and offend all these people. And next thing you know, you're
Yeah.
apologizing on the news the next day. It's just a great, to me, it's just it's a sad part of the times,
I mean,
even though I
you know
understand
what?
the
I guess
value of
it's
it.
a younger guy's problem. It's like, the way I look at it is like I have a relationship with the audience.
Mm-hmm.
And the audience, and me and the audience, we've literally been dating for 30 years.
Yeah.
And we have a shorthand, and the audience knows the audience knows what I mean. The audience knows how I feel. And I'm not really, as long as I'm true and honest with the audience, I'll be fine. You know,
Agreed. All
worrying
right. Well, that's a
about,
good point of view.
yeah, I mean, the surest
As
way to
opposed to
break
walking on
up,
eggshells.
yeah, just like the sure, I mean, you're married. It's like surest way to mess up your marriage is worrying about what people outside of your house think.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Totally.
And that's how I feel about my relationship with the audience. It's like I have a relationship with them. Like, boo, you know how, you know, what's that old John B song? They don't know about you and me. They don't know about this here. Like,
Yeah.
so I got a relationship with the audience. Bill Burr has a relationship with the audience. Dave
Yeah.
Chappelle has a relationship with the audience. And yeah, if you're not in that relationship, yeah, you might see something out of context and get offended. You know?
Yeah,
But
totally. No, I mean,
remember, me and my audience, we're good with this.
I've been there for the 30 years, so I agree with that
Yeah.
100%. And speaking of 30 years ago, did you know New Jack City and that Pookie role would be such a big deal or no?
You know what's wild? I had no idea. I remember, I said remember. It's weird. We rehearsed for like a week or almost 2 weeks. It was just me, Ice-T, Alan Payne, maybe Chris Williams was there, Vanessa Williams. It was like a bunch of us. We were in rehearsal like, whatever, 2 weeks without Wesley.
Mm-hmm.
I'd never seen Wesley. I didn't see the Major League movie. I kind of knew him from the Michael Jackson Bad video, right? So I didn't know if he could act or not.
Willie Mays Hayes, great role.
Right. So we're doing rehearsal, and then Wesley comes in and sits at the head of the table. Now, while we're doing rehearsal without him, we're like, not that we thought the movie was bad, but we just thought it was a job.
Mm-hmm.
We just thought it was a job, and okay, we'll be done with this. And, you know, I was getting scaled. I was like, okay, maybe I can get a down payment on a Corvette or whatever. You know, it was literally like
Right.
88 or 89, right?
Yeah.
Wesley comes in, sits at the head of the table, and starts reading Nino Brown. And me and Ice-T looked at each other, and me and Al, we're like, oh, shit. We're about to be in a motherfucking classic.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this guy is amazing. Like,
Yeah.
It was like Marlon Brando sat down.
Mm-hmm.
And as soon as he started, it took us, everybody realized how good they had to be. Like, when Nino sat down,
Yeah.
yo, it was, yeah.
Talk about the greatest names in the movie. Nino Brown, G Money,
Nino Brown.
Pookie.
So, yo, it's not that I knew it was going to be a classic, but I knew we were going to be heard. Yeah. And
Yeah.
it's weird. It's 30 years later. It's the biggest movie I've ever been in. It is.
And I'm sure that's the one that people talk to you. Pookie. Yeah.
Yeah, I get called Pookie all the time. Guys used to like bring me crack. They used to try to like give me crack. I'd be at a club and real
like,
drug dealers are like, hey, take some of this. I got something for you. And be like crack in my.
Unbelievable.
Like, okay. And then I'd smoke.
That was
great.
Did you feel like that movie was a pivotal point in your career, or it just like kind of developed over the years and time, or was Saturday Night Live something more like special? And then hindsight, you look back and you're like, those 2 years or 3 years, whatever, was incredible. And then you got fired or left, whatever the hell the story is. Like, was that the blessing in disguise you needed?
Thing. It's like, I wasn't sophisticated enough to know I wasn't sophisticated enough to know how good it could be for my career.
Yeah.
Okay, I was really about partying. I was really about drugs. I was really about a lot of things. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, like, I knew I was famous after New Jack. Like, I don't think I took the subway for, like, 20 years after New Jack.
Right. You made it.
Yeah, like, ooh, I can get into any club.
Right.
Pretty much anywhere in the world. Like, that was, like, my concern. So it's weird. It's a lot of my career. I could have, if I was sophisticated, I could have done a lot more with that part. I remember, here's a weird one. Right after New Jack, Julian Schnabel, you know Julian Schnabel.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah,
think
the
he
artist.
wanted.
He's got
I
a
think
great
he
pink
wanted me to
building in
play.
Manhattan.
I think he wanted me to play Basquiat. Like it was talk of me playing Basquiat. All right, you ever see
That
that
would have been
movie
great.
with Jeffrey Wright? I mean,
Yeah.
Jeffrey Wright's amazing, and he's
Yeah.
much better actor than me. But I was, again, I didn't have the sophistication. I didn't even know who Basquiat was then. You know what I mean? Like I didn't know who Schnabel was. I didn't know who Basquiat was. I was really from Bed-Stuy. I was really like this, you know. I was just a crackless pookie. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get it. But you grew up in Bed-Stuy in the height of the rise of hip hop, which that in itself is like an incredible time to be alive in
rise
that,
of hip
and
hop,
watch that.
Rise of crack. I saw crack. I saw hip hop. I used to hang at the Albee Square Mall with a Big Daddy Kane and Bismarck and you know.
Yeah.
Like,
Did you open for Run DMC or something?
Huh?
Back in the day? Did you have something to do? Were you on tour with Run
wasn't
DMC
on tour
or
Run DMC. It was weird. I was supposed to tour at Run DMC, and at the last minute, either Russell Simmons or Lear Cohen like kicked me off the tour. Like I never even made it. Right? They hired this other guy. His name was Chris Thomas. He used to do a lot of impressions. He was really good out of DC. And I ended up doing the Heavy D tour. I ended up spending the summer.
Another rest in peace. I loved Heavy.
Another rest in peace.
Personally.
Andre Harrell liked me and asked me if I wanted to open up for Heavy D. So I spent the summer touring with Heavy D and then Albie Shore.
So you were one of the boys. Heavy D.
Yeah. So I did Heavy D, Albie Shore, Keith Sweat, and I did Terrence Trent D'Arby. I spent like basically 2 years on the road with like, you know, not rock stars, but R&B stars. And yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah, it shaped
and then I assume you got to meet a lot of those. Yeah, for sure. I mean, the Russell Simmons, the Andre Harrells, the Puff early on.
Yeah,
then Biggie comes
Puff,
in.
It was like literally Puff would be at me, Puff, Mary. We'd be like in Brooklyn, like outside of Andre Harrell's office, like waiting for him to like throw crumbs our way, like.
Yeah.
Like, hey.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
Did you get to meet Biggie or no?
Yeah, I used to see Biggie all the time. Biggie used to live. I used to see Biggie. There's a McDonald's on Fulton and like Fulton and Flatbush.
Mm-hmm.
Fulton and Flatbush. I see Biggie there every day. Every single day, Biggie would get there. He'd be sitting shotgun. Lil C's would be driving. So yeah, I met Biggie a bunch of times. Or they would eat at Mike's. There's a place on DeKalb Avenue that they would come by for breakfast, and Biggie would get, fish, grits and salmon or whatever. I was
sad when people of that talent die at a young age. It's like, I think like now how wonderful it is. I get to like sit and hear Nas at a dinner table talk, or Snoop or Dr. Dre, and these guys are walking around. It's like Biggie, Tupac. The fact that they're not around is like it's such a robbery.
I've had a very Forrest Gumpish life. I've kind of met everybody. Some of it makes no sense.
I mean, I know you were at the White House a bunch
like
of
yesterday.
times for Obama's
I actually
birthdays, right?
I'm brag. I'm not gonna say why I talked to these people, but yesterday I talked to Biden and Kanye at different like that's my life.
Yeah. Well, listen, you're in that world. So how were those White House? I mean, I heard because Cassidy, who's actually going to come on after this for a second, who DJ'd those parties, said it was just mind-blowingly cool. To be at the White House.
Yeah, I was at the last White House party. It was great. It was incredible. It was like you died and went to black heaven. Like everybody was there. It wasn't even just everybody. I remember that night. I had my longest conversation with David Letterman that night. But the sad thing is, I remember was while we were leaving the party, you could see the Raptors going up, the seats for the inauguration, and you're like,
Right.
this is really
It's all
almost
over.
over, and
Yeah.
this shit's really about to change. And
Yeah. And it sure as
couldn't
hell
have been
did.
more right.
But it
Couldn't
was
have
great
been
while it
more.
lasted.
Yeah, it was
Christ.
good while it lasted.
What's on your back wall there? Are those cassettes or DVDs or
No,
what?
those are books.
Oh, those are I don't really read that much. Clearly, I don't recognize them.
That's a book. Yeah, books and TV. Yeah, this is my.
Are you a big reader?
I am a
I know you're a
big.
big writer.
I'm a big reader. It's weird. You know, it's weird. I'm listening to a lot of books on tape now. I got diagnosed with a learning disorder that I guess I've had my whole life. And I've always had a hard time reading. I've almost always had to like read books 3 times
Same.
to
You ever get
get
to the
them.
bottom of the next page and you're turning it, so you know you read it, but you have no idea why you're turning it, and then
Yes.
start over
So
again? ADD,
lately,
baby.
in January, I got diagnosed. Like I went to this doctor and whatever, and they did like this whole cognitive test on me, and I got diagnosed with this learning disorder. And one of the things the doctor told me is like you should listen to your books from now on.
That's all I do.
So
And
I've been
it's great because I can
listening.
watch and hear and read, or hear and comprehend versus reading it. It's virtually impossible
Yeah,
for
so I
me.
kind of
Yeah, I like
listen
learning.
and I keep a pen and I like listen and I write notes. So I don't
What are you
really.
listen? What are you listening to now? That's great. Anything top of mind?
Oh man, I'm listening to like this book about childhood trauma called the Body Keeps Score. It's really deep. It's really deep. I'm listening to that right now. And
When
then
you're
I don't
done,
know.
try the algebra of happiness.
The
It's really good.
Algebra of Happiness. I will check that
Yeah,
out.
yeah. It's
Yo, that
Scott
Body Keeps
Calloway. He's
Score
a
is
professor.
like some deep. If you have any, yeah,
I'm gonna write it down. The body
it's
keeps
a
score.
good one, and some of it it'll apply to you, and some of it you'll be like, oh, okay, that's why that person is that way. It'll give you compassion for the people that have done you wrong,
Got it.
and it'll help you deal
Forgive your
with.
enemies, but don't forget their names.
Yeah,
My
it'll
favorite
give you
quote.
compassion. It'll definitely like make you think of things in a different light. It'll make you
Awesome.
far less judgmental.
Okay, I'm gonna do it. And
Yeah.
next time I see you, we'll discuss it. What's your favorite movie? You got one?
This is my favorite movie. It changes all the time. You know what my favorite movie
Yeah, it's
is
like asking
right
food.
now? Is The
Hmm.
Social Network.
You
I
like the
kind
journey
of,
story?
huh?
You like the story of a journey of how things actually become?
You know what? You know what I like about it? I'm trying to move because I guess this guy's cutting my grass or something.
That's right.
But what I like about it is it's like they're both right. You know, like
You talking
Mark
about the
Zuckerberg's
Winklevi, or
right.
you talking Zuckerberg?
Mark Zuckerberg's absolutely right about not expanding the business and not taking ads. And what we'll call it, the other guy's right. And
You're
sometimes
talking
both.
about the Justin Timberlake character, Sean Parker.
They're all right. Justin Timberlake's right. What's the other kid? What's the kid?
The CFO or the COO or whatever, who's like raising the
Yeah.
money. Yeah, I forget his name, but yeah, true story.
Yeah, they're all like you know what I mean? Sometimes in life it's not even about right or wrong. It's just about what level of right. You know?
Is
So
that the dope car collection I see in the back? Oh boy.
you know, have things. Have bike.
Are those electric? Yeah, do you use the electric powered with bikes or no?
You know, I'm scared of electric bikes because it's like I'm
Great for
fine.
hills.
Yeah, it's just like I'm just finally in some decent shape. I actually have I don't have a 6-pack. I got like a 4.5, and
It's great.
it's like yeah, electric bike. Nah, man, it's like
No, but the beauty of the electric bike, and my partner Eugene uses it all the time now. He's moved to Connecticut for a while, but he's like, no, I bike the 10 miles, 20 miles, 30 miles. But when you're going up these brutal hills, it just gets you through it so you can continue on it. All right.
like I'm trying to stay in shape, man. I'm trying to like
Well, you got more shit coming up. Speaking of which, Fargo, my favorite show. Honestly, when people ask me during quarantine, what should I watch? I say start with season 1 with Billy Bob, and then you'll be hooked. So you're in season 4, is that correct?
Oh yeah, we haven't finished filming yet.
Fargo.
Yeah.
So it's been delayed because of obviously the situation, but
Almost done, and then we got like 2 more episodes to go. But I go back. Allegedly, I start in August.
and
Like,
you're playing good guy, bad guy.
I'm playing a bad guy. I just play this guy Lloyd Cannon, and he's a gangster in 1950s. Not Fargo, actually, in St. Louis. Am I messing? Literally, it's been a minute. Kansas City, that's it. We're from
Kansas City, right? That's where the gangsters from the other ones were.
So,
did you watch the original first 3 or first 2?
I mean, I watched it. I mean, it was my favorite show. So,
yeah, same.
But it's weird. I just watched the first episode of the new season last night, and it's really good. It's really good.
The way they start those shows and those series are amazing with the true story, and it's been changed. I mean, I guess a little bit of bullshit, but still, it's just the way they do those shows, and the cinematography of all of them is really like on a whole nother level.
It's kind of amazing. I hope we can get to finish it because it's not playing.
Have you watched Handmaid's Tale?
Great. It's amazing. I love it. You watch the Mark Ruffalo thing?
With him like investigating Dark Water or something?
No. He just did this HBO movie where he plays. It's him. He plays 2 parts. He plays. It's basically he's twins and his twin brother's schizophrenic. And
it's on HBO now.
It's on HBO now. It's like I always
watch it.
But he throws down.
Wow.
He throws down. It's so good.
Speaking of HBO, you got a lot of your career started with HBO. I mean, the show, the Chris Rock show, and obviously your comedy specials. But would you ever do that again? I love that show. And you had Grandmaster Flash. I mean, talk about it's just like, and you started so many people from that show that were cameoed.
I would. I'm not against it. I don't know what these next 2 years. Not next 2 years. I got a year and a half. My daughter's out of school, right? Yeah. I'm planning on moving to LA, and then we'll see. We will see.
Well, I think it's a really, to bring that type of a show back, maybe different format, I don't know, whatever, but you were so great at it. And you started, I think, as a political commentator on Politically Incorrect with Bill Maher, right?
Yes, I started on Politically Incorrect with Bill Maher. So,
still going.
Bill Maher, great guy. Gave me my shot. Gave me my shot when I was done. Mm-hmm. So I always try to tell my friends, it's never too late to be good. It's like, I know the last thing you did didn't work, and I know this didn't work, and I know failure. But it's like, if you're great, people will notice. And it's never too late. If you're in the game, you can hit the winning shot. It's never too late. And when I got that job, I'd been fired from SNL, and I'd been in movies that didn't work, and I was kind of a bust. It was like, oh, he's not Eddie Murphy, he's not Damon Wayans, he's not Martin, he's not, and I don't know. The Lord, for lack of a better term, woke me up, and I got focused, and it really changed. That show really changed my whole life.
Interesting. Well, I was a fan of that as well, and I watched it just yesterday. And Bill comes into catch a lot also. He's a good guy.
Bill's a really good guy. Bill gave me a shot, and a lot of people would not have given me that shot. Now the noise I can come back.
Yeah. Okay. Good. So what do you think you will be doing next if you had to predict? I know it's impossible, but do you have some dream that you haven't realized yet?
Nah, here's what's going to happen. I mean, because of Corona, no one's touring for 2 years.
Yeah.
Even if they are touring, what I do, no one's going to be in an arena for 2 years.
Yeah.
It's highly unlikely, right? So, you got to rethink your whole life. So I'm going to probably direct I'm gonna probably direct. I'm gonna probably direct soon. I'm almost done with this script because honestly, there's nothing else for me to do, like direct and star. But there's nothing
In a
else.
movie that you wrote?
Hmm?
Oh, what's wrong with me? In a movie that you wrote?
In a movie that I wrote, yeah. Yeah, that's what, you know.
So writing, directing, and starring.
6 hours of therapy a week helps you focus. So yes, I've finished the script and finished one script and almost finished with another script, and yeah, shit's, yeah, because it's not, you're not, I can't tell jokes. There's no, you
Yeah.
can't really have an audience. So, but it
But
looks like
you have a Netflix deal for a second show?
yeah. So I owe them another special, and yeah, but you know, right
But
now
you got to be live for that.
you gotta be, you know, you gotta have an audience.
Yeah.
So you don't want to see it without an audience. So I'm gonna finish Fargo, direct this movie I wrote, and yeah, let's keep it moving.
Well, I'm really looking forward to it.
Thank you.
And I appreciate your time.
Hey, anytime. You've been very good to me. You've been very good to my family. I'm always treated well.
Pleasure. Well, it's my honor to do that and to be able to speak with you today, and I appreciate it. I look forward to seeing you in person when you come out to LA. Let me know so we can grab dinner.
All right. Yeah, definitely.
All right. Thank you, Chris. Be safe. Be healthy, my friend.
All right. We
I
good.
appreciate it. Good to see you.
Woo.